Alrighty, this is the last page of the last lesson, Unit 4, Lesson 3. This is Skill 2, solving quadratic equations using the zero product rule. So let's practice this. Step 1, make sure your quadratic equation equals 0. Okay, all the terms are together, so we can factor them. So this is a trinomial, so plus and a plus is a plus and a plus according to that chart. Factors of 3 are 3 and 1. Once they have been factored, you use the zero product rule and set each factor equal to 0 and solve for x. Because this is squared, it'll have two answers with very few exceptions. Your online math homework is going to require, if you have two solutions, then they be separated by a comma. Okay, so what does it mean that I have two numbers that can be substituted? Well, let's double check that. This is going to be -3. I'm saying that that's x. -3 times -3 is a positive 9. Minus 12 plus 3 equals 0. This is going to be basically 12 minus 12 is 0. So that one works. Okay. And then we're also saying that a -1 can be an x. So -1 times -1 is a positive 1. This is a -4. This is a 4 minus 4 equals 0. That is true. So either of these numbers can be your solution. Okay? So it's different than the linear solving. All right, this one needs to be factored. Plus minus is a plus minus. Factors of 72 that are subtracted to be 1 is 8 and 9. Let me get my notes out to make sure that I'm doing this properly. So because this is positive, the 9 has to be positive. This is the only way this is going to work, remember? And then set each factor to 0 using the zero product rule. Solve for each one by moving it over, adding its opposite. Okay. These are not, all these terms aren't on the same side. I have a quadratic and I don't have an equal 0. So what I want to do, this is a positive 1. I want to subtract 1x and subtract 42 from each side. So that'll give me x squared minus 1x, you can put the 1 in, minus 42 equals 0. There we go. That was a quadratic. If this was a linear, you wouldn't have done that, right? You would have just moved one of them. Linears have numbers on one side and constant on the other. So we're going to factor this next. Let's see, a negative and a negative is a positive and a negative. I need a leftover -1, so 7 and 6, and the 7 needs to be negative. So it goes there. Set each factor to 0, excuse me. Solve. All right, here's a binomial. Still regular factoring for a binomial. Difference of squares is the root here and here. If it's a negative here, then it's always a positive and negative, and the root here. Set each factor equal to 0. Solve. Solve. binomial, perfect root, perfect square, excuse me. Negative here is a positive and a negative. Set each factor equal to 0. Divide by same, 6/7. Oops, dropped my negative. Boom. I was wondering because this should be the opposite. That's a positive. So a positive 6/7 and a negative 6/7. This is a quadratic, so we need all the terms on one side. That way I get my equal to 0. Excuse me, factor. Just totally losing my voice here. Sorry. 5. Negative here. It's a positive and negative, right? Excuse me. And the order of your answers is unimportant. Just don't forget to put that comma between them. You will get a problem or two that has it already factored. Do not FOIL it and put it back together, okay? It's set up for you to use the zero product rule as it is. Okay? And then this one, something unusual happens. Remember, we need to move all the terms to one side. So a negative 16 and a positive 64. So x squared minus 16x plus 64 equals 0. Factor. So negative, positive, negative, negative, 8 and 8. Now, both of the factors are the same, so you only need to solve it once. X equals 8 is your answer. You don't want to put comma 8 and put 2 8s down. The answer is either 8 or it's not 8. So it's 8. We don't need to write it twice. That would be marked wrong. Okay?